How's it going, guys? It's your boy Random Tall Guy. Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps out my channel. And welcome. Today we're working on the blue XJ one more time. It's never gonna be one more time. The car needs a lot of work, so I'm gonna continue focusing my videos on this car. Yes, I still have the black XJ outside. There's a few more things I want to do to that car, but today we'll work on the blue one. Now today we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna change the transmission fluid, just because since I bought the car I never changed it, and I already changed the shifter, so I'm gonna put some new fluid, kind of get all that gunky stuff out. And before we get started, I just want to mention my new workbench I got. So I went ahead and I bought myself a workbench because I'm tired of putting my tools and when I'm like disassembling or assembling something, I always do it on the concrete floor. I got tired of it. I went out and I bought a workbench. This is solid wood. It's nice, simple, straight to the point. Now, since I have a 4-cylinder engine, I have a Ax5 transmission. Now there's a lot of research, a lot of forums, a lot of YouTube videos on the Ax15 transmission, but it's hard to find any information on the Ax5 transmission for some reason. I literally had to go to like the deep web to find out where is the fill plug and where is the drain plug on the Ax5, just because everyone always tells you where the locations are for these plugs for the Ax15. Now, before I get started and show you where to go and how to do this, I just want to show you the transmission gear oil we're using for this. So we're gonna use some Redline synthetic oil. Some gear oil is the MT90. Now, why I recommend this only using this type of lubricant is because this is a GL4 lubricant. Now, the Ax5 and the Ax15, basically the transmission has these brass synchros, and basically the job of these synchros or these synchronizers is to help guide your shifter into gear. Now, basically what will happen if you use a GL5, which is commonly used today in transmission fluid and gear oil, is it basically GL5, what it does, it eats away on these brass yellow metal, so it prematures your transmission, and it just destroys your transmission over time. So basically why I use Redline is because it's a GL4 and it's high performance lubricant. It protects these yellow metals, these soft metals, and make it last a bit longer. Not only that, the Redline here will last you about 2 years before you have to change it again, so that's a big plus. Now I know there's some guys that use like 10W30 or 10W20 for the transmission. Yes, you can use that, and yes, it won't harm the transmission, but you're gonna have to change that oil more often, just because it's meant to be in a transmission, so it's not gonna hold up as long as a Redline MT90. So that's the reason why I use this. If you guys want a link to this, I'll put it down in the description below. I recommend use my link, guys. It really helps the channel. Anytime you buy something from those links, it sends some money to the channel, which I will use to buy more parts for the car. Now let's get started. All right, so we're under the XJ. Now this is the transmission right here. Now, in case you guys are wondering, how can you tell if you have the Ax5 or the Ax15? If you go underneath your car, this is your transmission right here. Basically, you're gonna have this. If you have the Ax5 right here in the middle, this plate right here, that basically connects the two halves of the transmission together, is made out of steel. So there's rust here. This is how you can tell you have an Ax5. A Ax15 is all aluminum, so you won't have this plate here. That's the number one way you can tell. Now, since I have the 4-cylinder and I have the metal plate here, this is definitely a Ax5 transmission. They're not everyone's favorite, but this is basically what the car came with. Now, a lot of people, this is where people get confused. They're like, oh, the Ax5 fill plug will be on the passenger side. Other people say it was on the left. Now, I looked to some forums. They told me that the drain plug and the fill plug are the exact same size. Over here, you have like a Torx plug here. This one's definitely, do not touch this, do not remove it. Apparently disconnect is something really important, so you don't want to disconnect it. And basically, If you look on the passenger side, all the way in the top here, right, let me see if I can get the light right there. This is right there. This is your fill plug right there. It looks about the same size as this. That is your fill plug right there. There's a couple of other things here that I doubt could be a fill plug, because the forum said is the exact same size as the drain plug. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a flush. Of course, you want to go ahead and see if you can break free the fill plug first, because if you remove the drain plug and everything comes out, and you can remove the fill plug, now you can't drive your car, and basically you're stuck here trying to fix this. So go ahead and just loosen the fill plug first. Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and remove the drain plug. I opened the garage door so I can get a bit more light, but it's extremely windy, so sorry for the bad audio. Now basically this is gonna be a 5/16. I recommend using a wrench because I didn't have enough clearance to get a breaker bar and a socket up there. So just use a wrench, it should be good. Now if this is the correct fill plug, liquid should come out. If it doesn't, then you might have the wrong one. Yep, this is the correct one. Fluid. It's kind of low actually, but there's fluid in there. There's a fill plug and also a washer that goes with it, so make sure that you take out both. And I'm just gonna put it to the side, put it somewhere clean. You don't want it to get contaminated. All right, so we're gonna remove the drain plug. This one I'm gonna use a socket and a breaker bar, just because it's easier. Whew. I always hate breaking these bolts free, because you're always gonna end up smashing your knuckles somewhere. All right, this one has a lot of dirt from mudding. All right, so here is the fill plug and the drain plug. Now the drain plug will have magnets. We'll have like a magnet in the bottom here. This is basically to capture all the shrapnel and basically shavings from the transmission. All right, so all I'm gonna do is just rub my fingers on it like this, just to feel for any like chunks of metal. And it kind of feels like fine, like really fine sandpaper. So my transmission is definitely getting old. I mean, it's 200,000 miles on that transmission, so eventually it's just gonna collapse. I definitely feel a lot of like grit, a lot of thick chunks of like really fine like sand metal shavings. Like look, there's a little chunk right there. So my transmission is definitely dying, but it's not too bad. I mean, it still shifts perfectly fine, so it might last another couple of years if I treat it right. It's whatever. I already know the car's old, the transmission's old, so we're gonna make the best of it for the rest of its lifetime. I'm gonna go ahead and just clean this up. So maybe the previous owner didn't change it frequently, and that's why we're getting a lot of metal shavings. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and clean the fill plug. The fill plug doesn't have a magnet, just in case you guys are scared because you don't see something in this hole right here. You're fine. I think I have a new fill plug. Hopefully it's the same size. Yes, yep, new fill plug, stainless steel. And yep, the exact same size, brand new. We're gonna go ahead and put the drain bolt back so we can start filling up the transmission with fluid. Make sure there's nothing in the surface, so we have a nice, solid, tight seal. Give it a good clean. There we go. And we can put the new drain plug in. Just because I'm always scared of these plugs getting stuck and then you have to drill it out. It's a complete mess. All right, it's in like that. Let me get my wrench here. All right, so we got the drain plug in place. Now we're gonna go ahead and fill up the transmission with fluid. We're gonna use one of these pumps again. Basically, I got this from Harbor Freight, about $5. Basically, it has a little attachment here with little anchors that it's just gonna grip into the fill hole so it doesn't come out. And then we're just gonna go ahead and insert this to the container, and we're just gonna pump fluid in. Now, it takes about 3.5 quarts, 3.5 quarts of fluid. Now, basically, the only way you know that the transmission is full with fluid is when fluid starts dripping out of the fill hole. So we're gonna go ahead and pump some fluid in. Alright guys, and that's how you change the transmission fluid in this car. Now I'm gonna go ahead and just drive it around the block. I'm just gonna shift to all gears, make sure everything's working correctly. If you like the video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Alright guys, and as always, if you have any comments, any complaints, put it down in the comments below. I'm definitely gonna check that out. Alright guys, have a good one. Stay safe. Bye-bye.